It was a quiet summer night in Springfield, Missouri. The kind of neighborhood where nothing unusual ever happens. One house, 3 women, and by morning, they were gone. No forced entry, no signs of a struggle, no clear explanation, only silence, and a mystery that has never been solved. Springfield, Missouri in the early 1990s was known for being safe and close-knit. People trusted their neighbors. Doors were often left unlocked. It was not the kind of place where 3 people could disappear without a trace. Inside a modest home on East Delmar Street lived Cheryl Levitt, a 47-year-old mother who worked as a cosmetologist. With her lived her daughter, Susie Streeter, 19 years old, recently graduated, outgoing and social, and Susie's close friend, Stacy McCall, 18 years old, who had just graduated alongside her. 3 normal lives, 3 normal people. On the night of June 6, 1992, Susie and Stacy were celebrating graduation. They attended several parties and planned to spend the night at a friend's house. But sometime after 2 in the morning, they changed their plans. Instead, they decided to go back to Susie's home. Susie drove her car. Stacy followed behind. They arrived around 2:30 in the morning. Inside, Cheryl was most likely asleep. Nothing seemed unusual. That was the last confirmed time anyone saw them. The next morning, something felt off. Phone calls to the house went unanswered. By early afternoon, a friend decided to check on them. When they arrived, everything looked normal at first. All 3 cars were parked outside. The front door was unlocked. Inside the house, there were signs of life. Beds had been slept in. A book was left open. Glasses rested nearby. Clothes were folded neatly. Makeup had been removed. It looked like a typical night had just ended, but the 3 women were nowhere to be found. Then came the details that made the situation disturbing. All 3 purses were inside the house. Car keys were still there. Money had been left behind. These were not things someone would leave willingly. There were other strange signs. The glass cover of the porch light had been shattered. Inside the house, the family dog was found alone and anxious. And then the phone rang. When it was answered, a man's voice made disturbing and inappropriate comments. The call ended. Moments later, the phone rang again with a similar message. At the time, it was dismissed as a prank. Later, it felt far more unsettling. As concern grew, more people entered the home. Friends, family, and visitors moved through the house. They cleaned small things. They touched objects. They tried to make sense of what was happening. But without realizing it, they may have destroyed critical evidence. By the time police were called, the scene had already been heavily altered. When investigators arrived, they found no signs of forced entry, no indication of a violent struggle. It appeared as if the women had simply disappeared. But the evidence suggested otherwise. Everything important had been left behind. One theory suggested that the door may have been opened willingly. Perhaps someone knocked. Someone who did not seem threatening. There was even the possibility that the family dog had been used as a reason to approach the house. If someone returned the dog and asked for the door to be opened, it would not have raised suspicion. And that moment may have been enough. Another unsettling detail was the number of people involved. 3 women were taken, at the same time, without a struggle. This suggested planning, control, or possibly more than one person. There were also reported sightings. One witness described a green van seen near the area in the early morning hours. Inside the vehicle was a young woman who resembled Susie. She appeared distressed. A man's voice was heard telling her not to make any sudden moves. But the sighting was never confirmed. No vehicle was ever identified. Other reports placed Cheryl at a convenience store late that night, appearing nervous. But these accounts could not be verified, and over time they became just another part of the mystery. Days passed, then weeks, then years. No bodies were found. No arrests were made. No clear answers ever emerged. Investigators believe it is possible that one person, if armed and prepared, could have controlled all 3 women. Others believe more than one person was involved. There are theories of stalking, theories of targeted abduction, and theories involving someone the victims may have known, but nothing has ever been proven. The house on East Delmar Street remains one of the most unsettling crime scenes in American history, because everything was left behind. The cars, the belongings, the signs of a normal life, frozen in time. 3 women walked into that house on the night of June 6, 1992. And somehow, they never walked out. No noise, no evidence, no closure, only questions, and a mystery that refuses to fade.